Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, back into Revvin for 11. And we got a very, very fun one for you today. And if you're a fan of self-torture, then you're going to love this.
Goal!
Johnson. This Bowman trying to bring it down. A bicycle kick, and that one is in! A spectacular goal! My goodness! Taylor Twellman goes airborne.
Win, lets it drop, takes a shot. Oh! That is goal-of-the-year stuff! You're not going to see a better goal than that. Here's Agudelo. Oh, look at that flick. Is that going in? Are they calling it a goal? Yes! Agudelo! Golazo! Unbelievable! Diego, he'll have another shot, and this time he puts it in the back of the net. 50th career goal. Youngest player in MLS history to hit that mark.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, back into Revvin for 11, where we talk about your New England Revolution for about 11 minutes or so, maybe some stoppage time in the end. We'll see where it goes. But listen, we have a very, very fun one for you today. And by fun, if you're a fan of self-torture, then it's going to be a great one. You're going to love this episode because the New England Revolution still searching for their first win of the year. The only game happening in the MLS on Sunday. It's back at Gillette Stadium looking for their first goal, never mind first win at home, their first goal at home, and they're unable to do it. They lose to an expansion team, FC Cincinnati, who, give them credit, had a 3-0 win in their home opener, 3-0 against Portland. They were in the Western Conference Finals last year. They drew with the champions of last year, Atlanta United, and I believe it was the first match of the year. So coming out hot. But listen, that's no excuse because 5 significant pieces of Cincinnati, not just bench players, 5 significant players who have allotted some serious minutes through the first 3 or so games with Cincinnati, not in the lineup, whether it was to injury or majority of them to international call-ups. The only player for the Revolution that has played a game this regular season that was missing was homegrown rookie Justin Rennick. So not to pick on him, but not a serious loss. But listen, if you can hang on through these 11 or so minutes, I have a positive twist for you in the end, because majority of this time, there is not a lot. And as if you're a fan of the team, and if you watch Sunday, you know that there is perhaps zero positive to take out of what transpired on Sunday. But I will give it a shot at the very end of this episode here. But let me tell you how this went down. The first 20 minutes... really nothing negative, nothing positive. Both teams trying to feel each other out. 20th minute, Pania has a spot-on through cross over to Teal Bunbury, who makes a nice run, but can't get his foot towards goal. So some attacking opportunities early. Cincinnati is having some of their own. Brad Knighton is decent in goal. They had a free kick later on in the game. Cincinnati did, where Knighton made a diving save to his right. We'll get to that in a moment. 22nd minute, DP Carlos Heel, who has the only goals of the season for the Revolution, 3 of them in 4 games. A great chip to Wilfred Zahibo. He can't put it on target, so whatever. There is some opportunities. Let's get their foot on target as the game goes on and see what happens. A couple minutes later, good to see we don't have, this is more of a refreshing thing, never mind like a game thing. Good to see we don't have video review after a Cincinnati player runs into Zahibo's elbow. He's kind of on the ground, but I would imagine VAR was going to come out. There'd be extended stoppage, but there wasn't. Play moves on. Fast forward to like the first half hour or so of the game. It's a stalemate. Back and forth, feeling each other out. And then all of a sudden we move to the 39th minute. Captain Michael Mancien fouls just outside the top of the box. FCC gets a favorable free kick, and this was the leaping save that I told you about. Knighton diving to his right on Emmanuel Ledesma's kick. So All of a sudden, Cincinnati is getting some attacking opportunities. The ensuing corner kick for FCC, it would be only their first one of the game. It almost leads to a goal. Knighton aggressive out of his net, which I have liked from him. I like an aggressive goalkeeper, but unfortunately, this was a bad decision on his part. He can't corral it. The ball goes down to a Cincinnati attacker. An open goal, and the Revs get lucky. The ball goes just over an empty net. That would have been 1-0 very easy for Cincinnati. But lo and behold, Cincinnati would get their chance just a couple minutes later. 43rd minute. Listen, I know he's a fan favorite, but Antonio De La Mea, he said a lot of things post-game, which I will get to along with the coach. Some post-game comments that are absolutely eyebrow raisers if you're a Revs fan, and kind of shows what is going on through the first 4 matches of the season in that locker room with the Revs, which we will get to in a moment. But he has not been good in the first 4 games of the year. He's not strong enough on an attacker. It leads to shot and in wrong position. Too much ball watching. Mane finds the back of the net. Bad goal to let in right before the half. Lackadaisical defense. It wasn't just De La Mea, but Zahibo and Mancien all ball watching on the play. That's a bad goal. And we saw it week 1 when Mancien got hurt. He had a back spasm injury right in warm-ups. Anibaba stepped in, and he was good. I need to see Anibaba out there because right now the back 4 is lacking. And obviously I know Andrew Farrell will be coming back soon, hopefully sooner rather than later. He's been on the bench the past 2 matches with that eye injury, but he needs to be back, and I want to see Anibaba in that lineup as well. And I want to see De La Mea on the bench, quite frankly, until, because he can make excellent one-on-one plays, which I believe he did in the second half. He made an excellent one individual effort to clear a pass, to stop a potential shot on goal. But he can make some boneheaded plays, and the whole thing just with throwing the hands up. I mean, the whole team, and it's not just this team. It's the sport itself, throwing the hands up, whether it's looking for the offsides or just disappointed, like pointing fingers. That's not healthy. You don't want that on a team. You don't want that on any club. I saw De La Mea do it. I saw the keeper do it. That's not healthy for anyone. It is what it is. You figure it out, and then you go from there. You stop pointing fingers. And halftime comes at this point, and some boos in the audience, and it was sad to say it was not even close to a half-full stadium. I believe the attendance, they said, was 10,000 and change, and let's be real, it was less than that. Did not look when the Twitter account, what is it, empty stadium seats, is tweeting about the revolution. That's sad. that's you can only laugh at it because it's like yikes. And it was a decent day. What was it, 50, 55 degrees, sunny? How come more people can't get out there to see the revolution? Second home game of the year, looking for their first goal of the year. So listen, I know the Revs will finish up this kind of second half recap in a second, but I know the Revs are looking for some energy. If they're looking at the audience and see the 10,000 or less, that's one thing. But then again, you're a professional football player. You're a professional athlete. And Brad Friedel said as much, which this is the second time I teased post-game comments, which we will get to in a moment, because there's one comment that came from post-game from the coach that is just like, stop traffic. Wow. Like, what exactly is going on in that locker room? But finishing up, I know you want to hear the second half. I do too, please. An upset Brad Friedel at halftime, talking to Brad Feldman and Paul Mariner on NBC Sports Boston, or on the radio station if you're listening to it. It's becoming a pattern. He's been upset and mad pretty much at halftime of every game so far this year. As I mentioned, De La Mea in the 51st minute makes a nice individual effort to make a stop on goal. I need to see more consistency. A minute later, Revs getting some attacking opportunities, but for the love of God, there's no shot. Never mind shot on goal. Give me a shot. Way too many touches within the 12 yards of the net, and no shot for the goal. That's just unacceptable. That was an unacceptable play right there in the 52nd minute. First substitution is made shortly after that. Scotty Caldwell in. That was his first game. He did not start. Caldwell was on the bench. Zahibo out. So trying to get more of an attacking mindset rather than Zahibo's central defensive midfielder. Caldwell can move up the pitch a little bit more. And as I mentioned, what did I say earlier? That was not for nothing with, had nothing really to do with the game itself. Oh yeah, the video review, the VAR after an injury, or what would be injury. In the 58th minute, I enjoyed this. Defender for FCC, Nick Hagland. He's fighting with Bunbury all day. He gets knocked, kind of goes into the barricade out of bounds. I would have bet money that would have been a play that he's pulling a Neymar, not him specifically, but anyone, grabbing the knee for 10 minutes, trying to look for a yellow. But he gets up, kind of taps Bunbury. All right, good fight. So that was refreshing to see that not everyone is looking for a yellow or embellishing in soccer. So that was neither here nor there, but it was refreshing to see for the game. 60th minute, Pania is in space up the left side. He gets a poor cross or shot, whatever it was. Pania, my goodness, something's off with him. He has the footwork. He has, pace in space, but I don't know where he's going with the ball. Did you know where he was going watching this? Was he crossing or was he going for a shot on goal? I mean, he has a terrific curl. My God, but can we be accurate, please? He was shooting the ball up into the 10th row where there was no one sitting, unfortunately. I'm sorry to laugh at it, but it's like, Jesus. Anyway, 61st minute, best chance all day for the Revolution. It's a 4-on-3. Pania finds Carlos Heel. Heel shot on goal. Rebounds back to Fagundes. Another shot saved by Cincy's keeper, Spencer Ritchie. And spoiler alert, because I know you already know this, but spoiler alert, those were the only 2 shots on goal for the Revolution all day long, and they were in the same sequence, back-to-back shots. So maybe you're thinking, okay, here we go, shots on goal, Revs are feeling it. Wrong, that would be incorrect, because Cincinnati, chance for them, Knighton makes a relatively easy save on a tough angle, Roland Lamar for Cincy. Rebound goes to De La Mea, and you all saw this, but let me just paint the picture here. De La Mea is in front, and he should know where the players are. I mean, there was a lot of ball watching, but, as a center back, you should know where the attackers are. Obviously, the keeper does, because he let De La Mea know his mistake after this. And I understand absolutely being safe, get it out of bounds, get a corner kick, whatever. But the ball bounces to De La Mea's feet after an easy save. The only Cincy player is the one who took the shot, Lamar, and he's 6 feet behind De La Mea. You clear that down the field, but De La Mea decides to blindly kick it over the line for a corner. And then I'm only bringing this up because the ensuing corner kick, only the second of the day for Cincinnati, it gets cleared, it gets bounced around, it leads to a short cross. More ball watching, and then Kenny Safe finds the back of the net. 2-0. The expansion team is embarrassing the New England Revolution in the only game of MLS that day. And as I mentioned, De La Mea, I put him at the forefront of both of those goals. Both allowed goals. I know it was more than one, but he was at the forefront of both of them. And as I mentioned, the clearances, 30 extra clearances. 30 more clearances Cincinnati had over the Revs. That's insane. That's preposterous to me. A change is made shortly after that, 66th minute. JFC gets in, Bunbury out, and 2 more times Christian Pania, I don't know where he's putting or shot or lack thereof. Actually, in the 67th minute, he gets in the box. He dribbles literally around the world. Literally around the world instead of attempting a shot on goal. The energy is nowhere to be found at this point from the Revs, down 2-0. The fans are restless. The commentators are restless. No one is putting a shot on goal. As I mentioned, the substitute, Juan Fernando Casado, is in the 6-yard area. Isn't even close to putting it on the net. I believe it was after a volley. Dwan Jones makes his MLS debut, the final substitute. And 85th minute, Revs are running out of time. Christian Pania yet again, a curl. I don't know if it was a pass or a shot on goal, but it was definitely neither because it goes out of bounds, and the Revs lose to an expansion team, 2-0. It was the first time in 6 years that the Revs did not score in their first 2 home games of the season, and I'll do you one better. It was the first time ever in their history, in the history of Major League Soccer, that the Revolution were shut out and lost their first 2 home games of the season. As I mentioned, 6 years ago, 2013, their home opener was a 0-0 draw. So at least they got a point out of that. They were shut out and lost both of these games. 2-0 to Columbus, 2-0 to Cincinnati. As I mentioned, it was the only game in Major League Soccer, and they were embarrassed. They were embarrassed. Cincinnati looked like one of the original 10 teams, and the Revolution looked like an expansion team. That's sad. At home, too. With home, definitely you didn't have home field advantage with all the fans showing up, so I'm looking at them too. But more so, obviously, I look at the players on the field. 90-10. Actually, more so, 99-1. The fans aren't fully off the hook, but we're not blaming them. We're not blaming the fans, actually, quite frankly. It's the players. The effort and energy level was decent for maybe the first 15 minutes, 15-20 minutes. Then it all but disappeared. Here's the quote that will blow you off your feet. Brad Friedel, in his lengthy 13-minute post-match press conference. Quote, "As a player, whether you don't like your coach or the club, the easiest thing to do is work hard. Anyone in the world can work hard." Is there an element of truth in the beginning part of that statement? As a player, whether you don't like your coach, are we already talking 4 matches into the season? The players are not just on the wrong page with Brad Friedel. Our players already don't like him? Because that can be disastrous. And as a matter of fact, Tuesday afternoon, as I'm recording this, peel back the curtain, tell you exactly when I'm recording this right now. Let me get the actual quote for you. Because actually it wasn't a quote. It was Brad Friedel, staff, and players had a closed door meeting to talk about the work rate in Cincinnati. And you can follow me on Twitter, Revvin for 11. I retweeted the tweet. It was from Jeff Lemieux. I said there's 2 results to this. There's 2 things that will happen. Either everyone gets on the same page and understands, yes, we're professionals, we need to work hard. Because I can only imagine it was a very lively and animated, probably some choice words used during that conversation, during that closed door meeting. So everyone can smarten up, get on the right page, and go from there. Or that can totally backfire. Relationship with the coach and players gets even more distant, and now you have a potential disastrous situation on your hand. 4 matches into the season. So, we'll find out Saturday when they face Minnesota. They're back at home, not just looking for their first win, which they are, but looking for their first goal at home. Incredible. But listen, as I mentioned at the very start of this episode, we're very much in stoppage time at this point, so I apologize. Like I said in last week's episode, Revvin for 11 is more of a guideline. Maybe at the end of the season I'll get to 11 minutes, but this is a very not special. I guess you could use special, but it's a like fork in the road moment right now for the Revolution. I mentioned last week, give me 8 games. You can experiment, Coach Brad Friedel, with 8 games, getting the right lineup out there. But by week 4, we're already talking about players not working hard and not showing effort. It's already time to, let's go. Because this can't happen again. Revolution. This can't happen. A performance like that can't happen again. 2-0 losses happen. Whatever, they happen. But if you show effort and energy like that again, then we have serious problems on our hands. So there's that. But listen, to flip the script, let me give you my positive, my reach in the bag and pull out my ray of sunshine for you at the end of the rainbow. Right now, I'm not saying the season is over or even chances of getting back to the playoffs is over. But as I just mentioned a minute ago, what happened on Sunday can't happen again. Here we go. Maybe in a noble / self-sadistic sort of way, maybe the Revolution performance on Sunday was excellent. Here's what I mean. For the entire landscape of Major League Soccer, we have an expansion team, FC Cincinnati, the 24th team, a first-year team flying high, bringing more eyes to the product because of their hot start. They, as I mentioned earlier at the very beginning of this episode here, 3-0 to Portland. They get some points against Atlanta. So maybe in a sick, sadistic sort of way, from a Revs fan's perspective, you're welcome, Major League Soccer. You're welcome for the growth of your league. There's more eyes on the product. There's more eyes on another team in MLS. You're welcome for the growth of MLS. We will take that horrific performance to help build the league even more. So there you go. In a sick, sadistic sort of way, the Revs' performance was amazing for Major League Soccer. Let me know what you think about the team in the comments. If you like the video, you can share it, whatever. If you agree, disagree, what do you think about the team? I can be found on Twitter at Revvin for 11. I want to thank you, the listeners, very much for listening. I know we are very much in stoppage time at this point. Revvin for 11 is a podcast that's supposed to go 11 minutes long, but I am well over that. So till then, hopefully some good news when the Revolution face Minnesota this Saturday. Talk to you next time. See you.